Welcome back to the program. Well, he has one of the most distinctive voices in American pop history. B.J. Thomas, with his very expressive voice, has achieved success in the pop rock, country, contemporary Christian, and country gospel music genres. He has sold over 70 million copies of his recordings and has won numerous Grammy Awards. His most memorable hits include Hooked on a Feeling, another Somebody Done Somebody Wrong song, and of course, Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, featured in the movie Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. B.J. Thomas continues to tour, singing these songs and many more of his top 40 hits. His latest album is called Love to Burn, and B.J. Thomas joins me now on the program. B.J., welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Wade. Glad to be here.
Well, it's we'll look forward to you being here on Thursday. We'll talk more about that and your touring these days. But let's go right back to the beginning, BJ. Back in the mid-'60s with your group, The Triumphs, and the song that really broke it for you, the country classic, I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry. Now, when you recorded that song, did you think that you'll be stuck in the country genre at that time?
No, at that time I wasn't really just a huge country fan. Although my dad loved country music, and my brother and I we kind of grew up with Hank Williams music, and we loved Hank Williams. So there was maybe 63, 64. There was a movie out called Your Cheating Heart. It was the life story of Hank Williams. And I went to see it with a friend of mine, a songwriter friend of mine, and he said, you ought to do that, I'm So Lonesome. And so we did it, and, what we felt like was kind of a pop vein. And when I started doing it with my band, with the Triumphs, and over the period of about 6 or 8 months, it kind of developed into the version that I recorded. And we had the chance to make our first album, and we had finished, of course, we just went in and cut the whole thing in one evening, and one all-night session, and we were finished with it. And I said, guys, we've got to do this one more song for my dad. My dad wanted me to do something country on the album. So before we broke down and quit, we did I'm So Lonesome, and I think we got it on like the third take. The trumpet player's lip was kind of blown after playing all night, but when he got through it without missing any of his notes, well, we just took it and we put it on the B side of a song called Hey Judy that we thought was a hit record. And it was just lucky because when I played it for the Top 40 program director, a guy named Bob White, who listened to what we thought was the A side, and he said, BJ, I don't know if we can play that or not, but he said, while you're up here, let me listen to the other side. And he turned it over, and about after the second verse of Lonesome, he said, BJ, I love this song, and they started playing it that day, and that's what kicked me off. It was a real surprise, and it kind of was a hit record right in the middle of all that Beatle Motown thing, and very unexpected. And I think the song had been recorded, over 70 times before I had done it, and it was just one of those things. It just happened to catch a feeling and catch a certain vein that people related to.
Back then, to have you and your voice in that song get airplay on pop radio was really quite rare.
Well, I'm not a country artist. I've done some country music, and I can sing country music, but I've always felt like I was a pop, just a straight ahead, pop singer. Mm-hmm. And so, back in that day, I got no country airplay on that song. It was just totally a pop thing. It wasn't a crossover. In fact, I never really had a country record until '75 when I did Somebody Done Somebody Wrong.
Yeah. And well, let's talk about pop for a moment, because what really, took off as far as, on the pop charts was Hooked on a Feeling. Your version, and there's been numerous other versions since, with the Ooga Chuckas and all that kind of stuff. But, I still consider yours the definitive version.
Well, I think, it probably has some validity as, of course, the first recording.
Yeah.
It has a classic guitar ride. I think one of the all-time classic guitar rides by Reggie Young on the electric sitar, which we had used on the previous record when I started recording in Memphis with Chip Moman and the American Studio Group. And we used it on The Eyes of a New York Woman. We kind of used the sitar, and we had, of course, heard it on the Beatles record, Sgt. Pepper, and we wanted to use it and we used it kind of sparingly on New York Woman, but we went full out with it on Hooked on a Feeling. And I think Hooked on a Feeling, as far as my fans go, they always expect to and want to hear Raindrops, but they always respond more, and everybody's always asking me to do Hooked. So it might be. I might have been able to live without Raindrops, but I'm glad I didn't have to make it without Hooked. It may be my favorite song.
I was going to say, what song would you put as your favorite, or the one that really defines B.J. Thomas?
Well, I think Lonesome may be the one. Although I've got certain personal, and emotional connections to a lot of my music. But I think maybe the Growing Pains theme, Hooked on a Feeling, and Lonesome, those are probably the three songs that kind of exemplify what my style is.
I'm glad you mentioned the Growing Pains theme, because sometimes that may just get lost in the mix of all your hits, but that was a hugely popular TV show with a Canadian.
The Alan Thicke, kind of just an absolute, that was another kind of thing that was really unexpected. Alan Thicke was kind of really at a low time in his career, and it just that first night that they ran that first pilot, it just was a smash in New York City, and that's what kicked it off. But Steve Dorff composed the music to As Long as We've Got Each Other, and John Bettis wrote the lyrics. And they called me one night. I didn't know Steve, and I never met him, and he called me and said, "Hey, I'm Steve Dorff, and blah blah, and we're writing a song here for a pilot, a TV pilot, and it's coming off so much, like a B.J. Thomas song that we need to know if you'll do it, we'll continue in the vein, but if you don't want to do it, we've got to change it because it sounds just like you." And I said, "Well, hey, I'd love to do it." And so and pretty quickly we recorded the song, and it was a big TV show. Probably got more exposure play-wise than almost anything I've ever done.
And speaking of songs coming to you, BJ, how did Raindrops come to you?
Well, there's a lot of different things working in my favor there. I was with Scepter Records, at Burt Bacharach and Hal David. It was Scepter Wand, and they owned the Wand label, and of course Scepter's real mainstay was Dionne Warwick, and so I was kind of there in their community, so to speak, and we'd ever since Lonesome and Hooked and New York Woman and those things, we had been after Burt to my personal management had been after Burt to write and record something for me. And I think when I got my 2 gold records in for New York Woman and Hooked on a Feeling, Dionne was in the office, and she got them and took them into Burt's office and said, "Hey, you see these things? You better write this guy something." And so I was kind of in the back of his mind, although they did pitch it to Ray Stevens and I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 other people before they let me have it. But thank goodness I was there to get it.
Now, BJ, have you always wanted to be a singer? Like, when did this all start for you? Were you a young kid singing in church? Where did this all come as far as your desire to be a singer?
Well, the popularity of the thing was something I never really thought about, and all the attention and being up in the spotlight is something that really never crossed my mind. But I did always love to sing, and just with my dad loved country music, and he was always playing those records. And right when I was growing up, it was kind of when rock and roll was really busting out with Little Richard and Elvis Presley and Chuck Berry and all those great artists, Dion DiMucci and just Ray Charles and all those people. And so I just loved that music, and I loved to sing. And then I kind of accidentally got into a band through my brother, and we started playing little dances. And I never really had any idea that I was going to end up, like I did. I mean, I was, I never really knew I was going to have one hit record. So, when I had Lonesome and Mama and Billy and Sue kind of at the same time, and I got booked with Dick Clark. And let me tell you, that first night I walked out on stage, and there was 10,000 people out there. I thought, man, what have you gotten yourself into? But I think the popularity and the fame is kind of a side issue for me. I've always the music that brings up a lot of emotion in me, and that's my connection to it, and I think that's what keeps me loving to do it.
And is that how you choose to do the songs? You really look for that emotion and that song that's really going to connect with the listener?
Yeah, Wade, that's right. I just look for something that kind of moves me emotionally and or spiritually or whatever, something that just moves me personally. And if I can really identify with it and put myself into it, then that's how I pick the songs. I mean, I've done a lot of songs that I didn't really connect with, and I did for various other reasons. People thought they were hits, or it was a follow-up, or some writer who had written me a hit record had a pretty good song and he wanted me to do, and I did it. But most of the time, I need some kind of emotional connection.
BJ, talking about the success that you've had over all these years, and you're still touring, and people are coming out to hear all the hits and everything. There was a dark period in your life that you've talked about with drugs and alcohol. Was that a result of your success?
No, I mean, I think that was kind of my surroundings and my something that I kind of just inherited. It was something that was just in my family for generations before me, and I kind of grew up with it, and then I inherited it, so to speak. It was just in my genes, and I had I had my struggles with alcohol, and then eventually in later years, but I had to deal with drug addiction, but. We were just laughing about that yesterday, how, I don't know if it's ironic or just lucky or whatever, but how many people, didn't make it. We weren't laughing about them, but we were just got a kick out of the fact that we did live through all that. And, I gave myself a chance by staying alive by somehow I gave myself a chance to let some of the good things take control of my life. And so, just been very lucky in that respect.
Well, how did you really turn your life around? When you say some of the good things, was it a strong faith you have?
Well, I think we all, there'll be a moment when we have an epiphany about what really is worthwhile and what really is valuable in this life, and I think it is wrapped around a spiritual faith, or a faith in a higher power, and that's what changed us and gave us gave us the belief in ourselves, and the faith in a higher power gave us the ability to move on and have a better life that just wasn't centered around material things, or how much airplay I was getting, or how famous I thought I was supposed to be.
And I mean, you released Christian albums. When did you become a Christian?
I did have. It was quite a surprise. I'm not a very religious person. I don't. I'm not connected too heavily with any just certain religion. But I did start out. I had my epiphany and my spiritual awakening, of course, through Christianity and what the life that Jesus led, and the things he said, and the things he taught, and those were the things that that broke through and allowed me to get a hold of them, and allowed me to change over a period of time. And that first Christian record, Home Where I Belong, I was just trying to really make an expression of kind of the newfound awakening that I'd had, and I had no idea, that there was even a gospel music business. I wasn't really aware of that, and of course we had the first 4 platinum albums in gospel music history, so that was another thing that was. I had a lot of great success there, and I'm very, very proud of that. I think I opened the doors for a lot of young people to go into gospel who weren't just going to sing certain kinds of pat songs, and what we tried to do was real songs with a pop country flavor or rock flavor or what have you. So I'm proud of that music also. Well,
I had Lou Gramm on the program here, former lead vocalist of Foreigner, and he became a Christian, and he found that the Christian community didn't really welcome him when he started still singing his Foreigner songs. Did you ever experience that at a time when you were trying to sing your pop songs, and people, Christians were saying, "Hey, you shouldn't be singing those anymore if you've had this new spiritual awakening"?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I was able to refine the spiritual awakening. I don't think the Christian community dictates in its entirety what is spiritual and what isn't. So I'm like the guy with Foreigner. I came under a lot of hypocrisy and a lot of hatred and anger, which was very surprising and really heartbreaking at the time. But it helped me to refine and to really realize who God was. And I don't think God is even though religion has served some people well, I don't believe that if you're looking for that epiphany and that spiritual awakening, that you're necessarily going to find it in any other place but inside your own self. And so, you have to work out your own beliefs, your own faith within yourself. You just can't be dictated to by some religious group. So that kind of grew over years, and I realized that these aren't the people I want to be singing to anyway. I love this music, and I still sing it all the time. But I don't want to just sing to the choir. I want to sing to everyone. So that's after about my fourth gospel album, I kind of went back to doing what I'd done. I really didn't make another gospel album until sometimes in the 90s. I made one for Warner Brothers. But, I just kind of went back to doing what I was doing and being a spiritual and letting my faith count for something within, the real world, if you will.
Yep. Well said, well said. So what keeps you going after all these years, BJ? Why do you continue to tour? I'm sure you don't have to. You're financially set. So what gets you back on the stage, however many dates you do a year and singing all these songs?
Well, man... it's like I don't think I'd be happy if I couldn't do it, because most people you'll find in music, and it's probably so in all professions, but you have a burning desire to express yourself with music, and it's kind of weird, but it is something that you just have a burning desire to do, and that you won't be happy if you're not doing it. So that's why I keep going, and I've had longtime musicians with me who depend on me for a living, and it's just like my daughter said to me one time. I don't know exactly what the circumstance was, but she said, Dad, don't forget that people who love to hear you sing, they want to hear you sing now more than ever. So it's just one of those things that as long as I can do it and be proud of what I'm doing, and I feel like I'm getting it accomplished as well as I can, then I'm going to keep doing it, because it's a part of what makes me happy. And
the voice is still there after all these years. I mean, you hear that B.J. Thomas voice, whether it was back in 1969 or here in 2009, it hasn't changed.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I try to, all the good things, a lot of the good things that have happened in my life have been tied to my voice, because I finally found that I had to quit abusing myself, or I was going to lose my voice. So there's been a lot of instances of alcohol had to go, and cigarettes had to go, and drugs had to go, and I have to I realized I have to eat right, take care of myself, stay healthy, stay sober if I want to sing like I want to. And so a lot of good things have been tied to that, and I'm eternally thankful that I had something that I had a burning desire to do that did require the best of me, and not just some halfway effort. So I've been lucky on that side, and I'm glad I still, I feel like I still have my throat, and I still have an ability to recreate the recordings and the songs that I want to do. And so as long as I can do that, well, I'll be talking to you and coming to see you.
And you are coming to see us Thursday at the Century Casino showroom, B.J. Thomas in concert. B.J., it's just been an absolute pleasure to speak with you today. Thank you very much for being on the program.
Oh, Wade, thank you. I tell you, I just thank you for playing my records all these years, and thanks to my fans for keeping me around, and I'm looking forward to seeing you and meeting your wife.
Thank you, BJ.